How can you use machine learning in your everyday work experience? Everyone is talking about how AI and predictive analytics are changing the actuarial industry. There is countless courses available online, instructional materials, even boot camps that you can go to. But where is the value in all of these? How do they really benefit you? And are they really worth your time? In this video, I'll share with you how I used education in order to get my current job as a predictive modeler. But first, I'll share a brief story about how I used education to solve a real problem. I was brought on to a team working on an existing model. This had been in development for more than 6 months. At least 2 other people had already touched this project. The model was for a large section of the business, and there had been countless hours spent tuning all of the hyperparameters, engineering new features, going through all of the statistical rigor that people thought possible. And it just wasn't good enough. It was not a significant enough improvement over the existing model in order to warrant putting this into production. So, what was the task? I didn't know where to start. So I turned to Kaggle. I looked through Kaggle to find a problem that was really structurally similar to the business problem. Then I looked across dozens of kernels. I watched countless videos of people, and I read through a lot of code to see what were people doing in order to improve the performance of their models. These could be really, really subtle. They say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And what I found is that a lot of Kaggle competitions are like this. Often it's not one single thing that people do that makes their model fantastic, but it's a series of small incremental things. Maybe this is converting factors into ordered factors, or using different types of encoding mechanisms for different types of features, or tuning parameters in a specific way, or taking an average of several models at once. And it wasn't just a single thing. I looked across dozens of examples and then found small things that I could incorporate that we had not already done in our existing model. So the big picture. Here's a problem in the business. How do we solve the problem? Let me go use an educational resource like Kaggle in order to solve that problem. Here are some resources that I used. First, get a job or an internship. There's no substitute for real life experience because this gives you exposure to real problems. There's nothing wrong with just taking Coursera courses, doing a lot of Udemy. Building up syntax in R and Python is the foundation. But as soon as you can, start finding real problems to solve. That's what Kaggle is, after all. Kaggle is a way that industries sponsor people to solve their own problems, right? So use Kaggle. You can even work on your own projects. These don't have to be paid. I worked on an article for coachingactuaries.com. What did I do? I just emailed them and I said, hey, I've taken some actuarial exams using Adapt. Can you send me the data and then I can write a short article on it? And I did. And I looked at some statistics and I tried to fit some models in order to predict whether or not I would pass an actuarial exam. Another example was for a nonprofit organization. There was this guy I knew who owned a nonprofit that sold soaps that were manufactured from the Dominican Republic that allowed underprivileged women in order to get jobs. And he had a website and he did a lot of Facebook advertising. So I was talking to him and I found that he wasn't really optimizing his ads. And so I used R to go onto the Facebook API in order to get data for his posts. So for each post, you could see like the number of people who liked, number of people who shared his posts, and so forth. And then I put together some Tableau dashboards and had a little conference call. And this project was critical to me getting my first internship, because I was talking about solving a real problem for a real business owner. You also focus on writing and communication. There's a saying, if a tree falls in the forest, but no one hears it, does it really make a sound? If you fit the perfect statistical model, but no one understands it, did you really ever fit a model? Now, in the business world, this is even more important. So focus on writing, focus on creating videos, giving presentations, record yourself talking. Creating websites is a great way to practice your writing. Data Science Plus Plus is a website where anyone can become an author and start submitting their own work. Or I put on some articles there when I was first starting out. There's also an R package called Blog Down, where you can update your blog entirely using R. Like, the barriers of entry of writing today have never been lower. You can even hire someone to create a little professional website for you. It will cost maybe a few $100s, but then once they set up the website, you can be in charge of updating the content. If you look on Upwork.com, you can hire a developer to build a WordPress site for you. There are many other examples of how you can use educational resources. Focus on the problem first. Then use education as the tool.